We are doing Westy Wednesday, and somehow I just need to change the title of this because it keeps coming up with one of the titles to one of the messages I done, and I can't even remember. Jesus is seeking us, because it's just told me. And you know, I don't know, maybe that's not such a bad thing to leave it on, because yeah, he is seeking us. So I'm just going to do host a watch party. I'm getting way better at this now. Yeah, so I just landed back in Auckland at about 10 to 6, so it's been a mad dash home, and then I raced and have a quick look at the church, because there's been some painting done, and I wanted to see what they'd been doing, and it's looking really good. So let me just find this. I'll do a watch party. Keep going. Okay. So then I should be able to. Oh, that's right. I got to turn my sound down. Sorry. Okay. So I don't know if there's anybody watching. Oh, yep, somebody is. So, what a crazy week, eh? I wonder how you're all doing. We just feel like we're getting over one massive thing, and now there's. It feels like the world is just in such turmoil, and I think it is, and rightly so. So I guess firstly, let's just talk about the pandemic, and how that it feels like for New Zealand. It feels like we're kind of coming to an end of it, but actually we're not. We've managed to do, you know, a great job of getting rid of it, but it's actually really about learning a new way of doing life, and I'm hoping. Yes, I did like the signs, David. They're cool. I'm hoping that you've found a new way of doing life. So one of the reasons that I went away down south is when we were having, hey Glennis, when we were in lockdown, I really liked it. It was good for me. It helped me to slow right down. And for many of you, you'll know that I was preparing to walk the Camino, which is an 800-kilometre walk across the top of Spain. So that's been cancelled, and you know, that was going to be a time for me to really I don't know, bring things to close, but it's not really that I was going to get closure from it. So I'm just going to move my dog. Sorry, get off. It's making a noise. It was bugging me. Anyway, look, I'm not going to get to go and do that walk. And, you know, that was really about me having some space to deal with my grief. You know, when Roger died, I carried on. And although I wasn't officially employed, I carried on working. I carried on working when he was unwell, and, you know, didn't really take some time off to just to stop and have some time for me. And it's not to say that I haven't had time for me, because I have, and our church whānau have been amazing as far as, you know, giving me space and putting up with me crying and grieving for Rog. So, but this was going to be a really, hey Rod, great to have you join us. So anyway, my trip has been cancelled, and to be honest, it's not looking like I'm going to go, certainly I don't think within the next couple of years. It takes a lot of training and preparation to do something like that. And I've refused to walk since. I was like, no, I'm not going to walk. So anyway, that's why I was down south, just having a bit of a break, because I recognise that I've probably been suffering a little bit of compassion fatigue. And if I didn't stop and think about that, then, you know, it would turn into burnout. And I don't want that at all. So, yeah. I've had a really relaxing, restful week where I've been well cared for and looked after and spoilt, and had lots of love and hugs from some of the kids down there. So that's been really amazing. Anyway, it's now about trying to figure out how do we carry on in a slowed down pace for those of us who have been living a life that is actually not. It's not normal. You know, we think we want to get back to normal, but that wasn't normal because we're just racing and busy and tired and stressed. And that's not actually normal. I totally don't believe that's not how God made us. He didn't make us to be like that. So, we have to learn how to do that. Okay, I have to learn how to redo my life with space in it for me, and space in it for me to be really, hey Nikki, really relaxing and having that space. I wonder how you guys are doing with that. I know that there are some people who are not going to work in the office anymore. Josiah was just talking about that with me on the way home from the airport, that his company is now, they're just going to work from home because they've managed to do it for 7 or 8 weeks. Why not carry on? Now, I know that there's plenty of other places that are the same, and that means that you don't have to leave work so early. You don't have to worry about childcare. You don't have to sit in traffic, mindless traffic. But there are other things that we need to change as well. For me, I know the big one, and I know it's learning to say no to people, and I'm not very good at that. And even over lockdown, hey Christy, even over lockdown, I still said yes to people when I should have said no, even knowing that I should be saying no, and I still say yes. That's my biggie, is figuring out how to do that. I wonder what yours is. Maybe you could let me know sometime, somehow, and I would really love to know that. And anyway, now we're watching again. We're back to that mindless watching of stuff that's happening in America, and it breaks my heart. I have to say, it absolutely breaks my heart. I watched the video. And I'm so sorry, I've read that man's name so many times and it's gone out of my head right now. But, I watched what happened, and nobody should die like that. And I've been watching the riots, and, it's just so sad, but I totally understand. I think the people of colour in America and all over the world really have suffered such severe racism. And no, racism is okay, but they really have faced it in a terrible way. So, watching that, I don't feel like, there's some people who are like, well, they shouldn't be looting. It's like that a cork has popped and it's like a powder keg's gone off. I don't know how you put the cork back in. Actually, I don't think you're meant to put the cork back in. I think that we have to deal with this face on. And I know there's lots of people who are like, well, we're just still back here in our little bubble with no new coronaviruses, and we're just miles away from there. And, we don't have racism in New Zealand. And I'm like, stop. We do. We absolutely do. And I was just talking with with Prina, she's my boarder, about this earlier. And she is a person of colour. And I said to her, I said that to her, that we, people think, well, we don't have it. And she said, we do. and she's experienced it. And she said sometimes it's purposeful, but sometimes it's, I'm a dog. Just decided to have a bath. Sometimes it's purposeful, and sometimes people just don't even realize what they're doing. How do we learn? How can we know when we're overstepping the boundaries, especially when for so long it's been the way that we've been? And I know that the younger generation are way better at it than my generation, and certainly the generation above me. Maybe if you are younger than me, younger than whoever you're talking with, help us to understand, help us to know how we can deal with it, how we can actually stand up for it. You younger people are way better at standing up and calling somebody out if their joke is inappropriate. We all have to change, and I think this is a huge opportunity. I was just reading an article. I don't know about you. I've read so many articles. And I was just reading one about Martin Luther King and the riots that went on around that time, which was, I believe, in the 60s. And it's like we've just gone round the mountain and we're back here again. How can this time be different? How can this time change what's happening? How can we change what's in our hearts around racism? And I love that they're saying we shouldn't be against racism, but we should be anti-racist. And so that's something that I've been having a really, really good think about. And I try not to be racist. Honestly, I love people of colour. My kids, they all know that. And, I've always said I would love to have some Māori blood in me, so that I could be Māori. I love the Māori culture, the language, the tikanga, but I'm not. I'm white. So I come from a place of privilege, and I know that. And I will never understand what it's like to be a person of colour, but I'd like to give it a really good try. And I want to encourage you all to be doing the same thing, to be trying. But I also want to just encourage you to be kind to each other, because we all have differing views and we're all on a journey. And, I often talk about, being in a relationship with God is like being on a journey. And, we start somewhere back here and we end somewhere, well, we're still on it. We're just constantly moving. And, everybody's at their own place in their journey. And, I just think that we're all on a journey as far as racism is concerned. That doesn't mean that you can just say, well, I'm not there yet, because you should be working really hard. I need to work really hard about, making sure that I pull myself up and that I pull others up and not let it happen. It just shouldn't. It just shouldn't happen. It's so sad. It breaks my heart. It really does. Our world is hurting, and I guess I want to encourage you to be kind to each other and be gracious to each other. And, when I was preaching on Sunday, I talked about the cure for racism. Hey, Justin. The cure is love. And, I think love wins. Racism is a hate-based thing, and it's not who I am. It's not who we are. And so as a people, as Kiwis, as New Zealanders, we need to stop and have that time and that space to say, well, how can we change? And on Sunday, I'm going to have somebody who's going to help us to understand that a little bit more. because we need to hear from people of colour. I want to really encourage you to read and to listen and to talk with people of colour. I'm going to put something up tomorrow. Actually, no, I'm going to put up after here. I'm going to put on our church page, and it lists a whole lot of places, blogs that you can read, podcasts you can listen to, movies and programs and documentaries on Netflix or Amazon something or other. It gives people that you can follow on Instagram. It gives ways that you can donate. So knowledge is power. That's what we need. Is we need to have the knowledge about racism and about how tough it is to be a person of colour. So I want to say, be kind to each other, and do that reading and that research, and check your heart. Ask yourself those hard questions, and they are hard questions because, for me, because I'm a white person, I've got to ask myself the hard questions, and I just really want to encourage you. Are you looking for her dummy, Ethan? There should be 2 in that bag, so 2 her yummy bunnies should be in there, or behind it maybe. Should have got that sorted out. Because we've just come home, the baby, she slept on the plane, so they're looking for a dummy. Never mind. Otherwise, you might have to go into the bedroom or have a look in that pink bag there, the suitcase that's in the dining room. Yeah. Anyway, if you want to talk about this, if you are a bit stuck, maybe you've grown up in a home with really racist parents, and you're really struggling with this, then I would love to talk with you about it. There's so much change happening in our world, in our church. It's like the scales are falling off our eyes, and for so long we have been wearing these clouded glasses that have it's like been a lens of judgment, and it's like that cloudiness is just coming away, and we're beginning to see the world in a way better light, and I think that's really good. I know it can be really scary for people when all of your foundations are shifting and you feel like you're standing at the edge of the beach and the waves are washing in and then washing out, and it's like you stand there and your heels start to sink back because the sand's taken out from underneath you. And maybe that's how you're feeling about your relationship with God, your relationship with the Bible, your relationship with theology, your relationship with the church. And I just want to say that it's okay to feel like that, and I'm happy to walk through that journey with you. I've felt that before, and it's actually a really good thing. It really is a really good thing to be having honest conversations with God, and honest conversations with each other, not being threatened by anything. And again, like I say, everybody is on a scale, and some are there and some are there, but we're all moving. Some of us move really quickly, some of us move slowly. It's like that at the airport tonight. Some people were taking a long time to get off the plane. Some people just wanted to go and get there. And life's like that. So, hey, Paul. So be kind to each other. Reach out for some help. If you need help around this, if you want to just talk about it, talk about this whole race war. That's what it is. It's a war. And if you want to talk about it, if you want to talk about the whole Kiwi situation, I'm learning, and I'd love to learn along with you. And I just want to say too, feel free to turn social media off. I know that if you're watching this and you're on it, and I don't want you to turn off yet, but if it's getting too much, turn it off. You don't have to watch it. yeah, so feel free to turn it off and watch something else. Look after your own mental health through this time, and especially as we, move again into another level of our lockdown. And for some people, that's enough. That's scary enough to be going out into the world and facing the world for the first time. So, again, give me a call, or send me a message. And just one more thing: if we go to level 1 next week, we will have church next week. So we were going to go on the 21st, but now if we're going to level 1, we'll go on the 14th. So that's something to really look forward to. We should be able to sit next to each other, which will be really nice. And I think we might have we almost need to have, a signal. Everybody needs to ask before you hug somebody, because some people are not going to want to hug each other, and that's okay. So maybe before you just race up and hug somebody, you need to say, hey, can I give you a hug? And that will be what I ask you all, because I want to, Prina's just said, it's not a race war. We're trying to end the race war. The whole point is no one race is better than another. Yeah, I agree, Prina. That's so true. It's not. And I saw another really important, not important thing, but it was really interesting. Nicola Sutton put it up, and I'll share that tomorrow. And it's about equity is what we need, not equality, but equity. And I'm not going to go into and try and explain it to you, because I don't have it in front of me, and I'll just make a mess of it. Anyway, aroha nui. Ka kite anō. See you on Sunday. Stay safe. Still saving water, and be kind. Be kind, and remember that love wins.